and it's somebody who is the victor in this kind of an election to work cooperatively with the people of Pittsfield, and I pledge to you that I certainly will do that, to unify the residents of the city of Pittsfield. And there are so many areas, though, where we all agree. I believe in aggressive economic development. I believe in the highest educational standards for our children that is not weakened by crime, and for essential services that enhance the quality of our life. And I believe that the entire city of Pittsfield stands with me on each and every one of these initiatives. And today, I'm asking everyone in our community to roll up their sleeves, to give me a call, to help out, to move these goals, to achieve these goals, and move our city forward. Now, a few weeks ago, I met with Governor Patrick, as well as other state officials, the Secretary of Education, Secretary of Public Safety and Transportation, and in each stop along the way, these state leaders echoed the same thing. They are ready to help Pittsfield. Many of them mentioned the good works that have occurred here in the city of Pittsfield. But they also had another message to send, and that is that our economy still is troubled by this recession, and that resources are going to be limited, and state aid from state and federal sources may be diminished. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't new breaking news, and I'm not saying that to frighten anyone, but it simply means that we'll have to put a very concerted effort into wise and careful planning. Doing more with less is something that unfortunately too many people, too many families here in the city of Pittsfield know all too well about. Our city government will follow the example of these families, will live prudently while still meeting our essential needs. Now together we'll make a commitment to stretch our services without sacrificing public safety, education, infrastructure, and services for our senior citizens. Now, as I unveiled during the campaign, I do have a plan for the city of Pittsfield. And soon the plan will be up on our website, and I'll be looking for suggestions, criticisms, additions, amendments to that plan. I look forward to hearing from all of you on this. This is a document outlines several options for the city of Pittsfield to collaborate with other communities and to achieve greater efficiencies for our taxpayers. And to that end, I had the privilege of meeting a couple of weeks ago with Mayor Alkenbright from North Adams. And we talked about how we could work together on projects and take a county-wide approach to economic development and public safety. And I intend to initiate meetings with all of the municipal leaders throughout the Berkshires to examine common problems and to look for regional solutions. By working together and by engaging with organizations such as One Berkshire and the Berkshire Chamber of Commerce, not the Northern or the Central or the Southern Berkshire Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce of Berkshire, we have a much better chance of branding and promoting the Berkshires for the purpose of economic development. Now, he told me kind of a disappointing story. He was trying to land a manufacturing company. That's right, a manufacturing company here in Berkshire County. And they just missed out up in North Adams. They ended up going out of state. But if we work together, collaboratively, with other communities, maybe those opportunities won't slip through. Maybe we'll land them here in Pittsfield, or maybe Lennox, or maybe some other community, but we'll do it here in the Berkshires. And if we can land a company like that anywhere here in the Berkshires, it's going to benefit everyone. So I'm looking forward to that kind of collaboration. Today's a special day. It's a beautiful, sunny January day. And it's generally, the new year filled with great hope. And most people recently celebrated either, I would suggest all of us here in this room, either Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or Christmas. Now, these holidays have wonderful similar themes. Themes of charity, of caring for those who are less fortunate than ourselves, of community, and mutual respect, and a need to act like families. All of these beautiful sentiments should also inspire and guide our city government. It's the beginning of a new year, with new leadership, a new city council. This is a hopeful time for Pittsfield and a time for all of us to carry these holiday virtues and sentiments into the months ahead, into the years ahead. Now, I bet a lot of people here made New Year's resolutions. Now, it's only January 2nd, so we probably still in a pretty good shape there. Well, I made some New Year's resolutions myself. And among my own New Year's resolution is a commitment to encourage people to participate in their government. I resolved that an individual's opinion and service will always be valued. I talked a great deal about this while I was campaigning for this office. One of the first calls I made was to a retiree from General Electric Company. And he's an older gentleman, he was almost 90 years old. And he said to me, you know what, Mr. Bianchi, there's an awful lot of senior citizens in this community and a lot of professionals, and we still want to be involved. We want to help our city. We love this city, and you should ask us to help out. Well, I'm so glad I made that call on the first day of my campaign, because that's what I did. During the time of the campaign, I asked many people if they'd be willing to serve on a board or serve on a commission or help find ways to better serve the citizens of our community. And some said they tried in the past, but with not too much luck. And others said that they'd never been asked before, while others said they just didn't feel as though they would be welcome. Well, believe me, I'm telling you right now, I welcome your help. I'm looking forward to working with you. Now, I filled my pockets with little slips of paper where somebody would say, gee, you know, I'd be happy to help out, or I'd like to serve on a commission, or, well, maybe I will. And I'd take their business cards, and I'd jot their names down. And many of those slips of papers and business cards did survive. Some of them ended up in the laundry in my washing machine. And others were disposed of by one of the most organized people I know. That's going, Mom, right, exactly. But that's okay, Teresa. Because right now, I'm asking everybody in this room, anybody who's watching on television, get a hold of me, give me a call, email me. It's dbianchi@Pittsfield.ch, that's Pittsfield Charlie Hotel. Email me. Call me at 499-9321, Jim. All right. Get a hold of me. We'll put you to work. And believe me, I will appreciate the efforts of anybody who wants to help out. I pledge to welcome you and welcome your service. Now, I'd also like to take a moment to recognize a group that sometimes doesn't get recognized, and that's our valued municipal employees. They work hard to serve the people of Pittsfield, and often they're not recognized for their service and their contributions to the city. Public service can be demanding and oftentimes not terribly appreciated by the rest of the public. And I pledge to respect your opinions, your work, your input, and your efforts on behalf of the city government. And I also pledge to treat the public, the citizens requiring our understanding and our best work with the highest regard and with respect. Now, having said that, we know that we've got to deliver services in a much more efficient manner. Now, we have to do that, but we have to tap into technology, the vast potential of technology, to better serve our community. Technology should be an essential tool in improving both the access to government and improve the experience of dealing with government for our citizens. Pittsfield's website should be a welcoming technological front door to this community. We have to open that door so that contractors, developers, taxpayers, citizens can interact with the city of Pittsfield more effectively. And I pledge to enhance technology to serve our citizens. I also want to, in the next month or two, create a panel of contractors and code enforcement officers to work together to figure out how they can work with the city more efficiently and have their projects expedited. Now, something I talked about during the campaign is economic development, and I think economic development is one of the most essential roles
of local government. In Pittsfield, the William Stanley Business Park represents one of the greatest opportunities to secure the future. This large and valuable parcel of industrially zoned land, along with other industrially zoned land here in the city of Pittsfield, I liken it to oceanfront property. There's only so much of it, and at one time, oceanfront property was only owned by the very wealthy. But I believe, like oceanfront property, the industrially zoned land in the city of Pittsfield should be wisely used and should be for the common good, for the greatest good of the community. And I envision new opportunities for good-paying jobs that can help the underemployed and the unemployed, those people in our community that are just making ends meet, who have one and two, and some people have 3 jobs to make those ends meet. We even dream that the children we send off to college by the hundreds every year to study science, engineering, and business might be able to come back to this city, to the city of Pittsfield, and find real opportunity. Now, I spent time with folks on the PETA board, and they have some really creative new members of that board, along with a couple of real seasoned folks on the board, and I'm looking forward to working with them. I spent time with them on a brainstorming session a while ago to talk about the kinds of industries we'd like to target to bring into the city. Careers of the future. We talked about life sciences, the plastics industry, light manufacturing, medical research, green technology, high tech, and many more. It was a great session. These are the kinds of jobs that we want for our citizens and for our children. We shouldn't settle for second best or, well, we can't do any better. There's no other choices. We shouldn't settle for that. Our needs are too great. The people of the city of Pittsfield have sacrificed quite a bit. We have to, and they deserve the best opportunities that we can provide them. If it takes more time, more work, more resources, then we should commit the time and the resources to get to where we have to go. I pledge my best efforts to help deliver meaningful opportunities for the people who need them now and for the future generations. That's why in the next 30 days I'm going to send my name up to Kevin and the folks on the City Council to become a member of the PETA Board. I look forward to working with the PETA Board, helping out in this effort. I want to roll up my sleeves just as I've asked you to do the same thing. Now, we also have to recognize the fine companies and organizations that we already have that have offered top-notch employment opportunities. These are companies such as Sabec, General Dynamics, Berkshire Medical Center, Berkshire Life, and there are many others. I will work with these folks, we advocate for them, and assist them in every way possible to keep them healthy, to keep them growing here in the city of Pittsfield. Now, we've also been blessed with companies that have spin off from a lot of those organizations. Small businesses that have started right here in the city and have prospered and grown. I've said this before, I will continue to say it. Our small businesses are the backbone, not just of this community, but of this country. And I want to see our small Pittsfield-based companies continue to grow. And that's why I plan on also, so you're going to be busy, Kevin, with things to consider. I'm going to send a request to the City Council to set up a strategic fund from the GE Economic Development Fund to help these small businesses that might, this is the kind of fund that will enable them to grow. They might use this fund to be utilized to leverage other commercial funding for the purposes of creating good jobs, good opportunities for our citizens. And I pledge this commitment to our small business community. Now, that's where I'd like to see us go. Those are the things I'd like to see us work on with regards to economic development. But one of the greatest impediments to economic development is crime. It threatens the growth of the cultural initiatives which we started and which people have worked so hard for. We've got great cultural venues now here in the city of Pittsfield. Pittsfield is a destination for places like the Performing Arts. We've got the New Beacon Cinema. We've got restaurants that have invested downtown. All that effort and initiative can be damaged by crime. Crime is an impediment to our educational system. In fact, crime affects every aspect of our life, and I don't want our city to be defined by our crime statistics and the problems of crime. One thing that I believe was achieved during the fall campaign was that we finally started talking about crime. We realized it's okay to talk about problems that we have, and we did that. And I believe we have to convince every citizen to become invested in the idea that we have to do something. Every citizen has to be involved with crime. This has to be the equivalent of a crusade. Now, Councilors Lothian and Mazzio, Councilor Sherman, you have young children. I've raised children here in the city of Pittsfield. We should be outraged to think that our children have to share the same streets with violent drug dealers. I have elderly parents, as do many of you, Councilor Young, Councilor Capitania. We should be outraged to think that our parents are afraid to go out after dark or want to avoid North Street. We've got to harness that outrage. We've got to harness it to help the people of the Pittsfield Police Department, the good men and women, to do something about it. We should harness this outrage to direct help to the police department. We should harness this energy and this outrage to take it to the bad guys. Now, I'm going to give you a telephone number, and it's one that I've got in my cell phone. And it's 448-9700. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's the non-emergency number for the Pittsfield Police Department. Everybody should memorize it, or if you've got a memory like me, you should write it down on a piece of paper and put it in your wallet or your pocketbook, or you should log it into your telephone. It works. A couple of years ago, my brother and I were out walking the dog, and we were behind one of the elementary schools here in the city of Pittsfield, and we saw two cars parked together, and guys exchanging money, and we knew what was going on. We called that number, and within minutes, the Pittsfield Police Department was there. Everybody's got to be involved. The Pittsfield Police Department has only so many resources. That's why we've got to help out. We've got to put 1,000 eyes on the street to help the good men and women of the Pittsfield Police Department do something about crime. Now, we had a meeting a while ago, and it was organized by Peter White at the Morningside Community School. And we had a good crowd there, an enthusiastic crowd, people that spoke honestly, people that were concerned, were scared, and a lot of the members of the Pittsfield Police Department were there as well. You could tell that they wanted to be involved, that they wanted to participate. In October, Sheriff Bowler and I hosted a community discussion about crime and the Crime Watch initiatives. We had Peter Mazzacani, a friend of ours, who organized one down in the Yankee Apple Orchard years ago, talked about crime initiatives and how effective they can be. And this was on a snowy, wintry, that was the first snowstorm, October snowstorm that we'd had in years. 100 people showed up, and they were interested and involved. And I think that they're committed. And I believe that the people of Pittsfield are ready to partner with the dedicated men and women of the Pittsfield Police Department. I pledge to support our citizens in this effort, and I pledge the resources to support the Pittsfield Police Department in their efforts to combat crime. Now, our efforts will be enhanced through collaboration. I will engage the help of the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, and I'll partner with other communities. This effort has to be an offensive effort. We must take the fight to the bad guys. We have to create a zero tolerance for crime. We have to make the streets of the city of Pittsfield
and the towns of Berkshire County the most unfriendly place for criminals. And I believe that we will be successful in these efforts. Now, there's other initiatives. Certainly didn't want to get off too much on crime. But I think that we have, here in the city of Pittsfield, I don't know if we have teachers in the room, I know we've got some. We've got a really good school system. But I share the concerns of many about improving our schools. This will be another top priority for this administration, and I know Jim Roberto was tagged the educational mayor, and I think it's a great tag to have. So I plan on helping in this effort as well. This will be a top priority of my administration. I want to work with the superintendent, the School Building Needs Commission, to review our school infrastructure priorities and determine the appropriate approach to restoring our 2 high schools. And I was really pleased to hear that the 3 elementary schools that were not part of the most recent renovation of elementary schools are now being considered by the state. Those are our 2 community schools in Crosby. These are the schools that are serving our most needy students. And getting back to those virtues of the holiday, taking care of the least of our brothers and sisters. So I'm so glad to see that they're now being considered in Boston. Several weeks ago, I met in Boston with members of the School Building Assistance Bureau to discuss our school needs and to emphasize my commitment to a meaningful public evaluation process relative to the high schools. We will only proceed, though, when a clear determination is made about the best type of high school to meet our needs. That determination will be made only after methodical examination, supported by reasonable data, and costs are publicly discussed and considered. I won't let the community fall victim to a situation where costly renovations and costly construction means losing teachers. And there are some communities that have done that. They've built the best school, but then they find they have to lay off teachers to meet budget. That's not going to happen. Because when all is said and done, teachers are the real foundation of education. I also want to assure teachers that I understand the challenges in your classrooms, day in and day out. You have my support, and I will work with you to make sure that you have the resources necessary to continue the good work that you do, day in and day out in the classroom. Now, I also think that technology can play a role. We had a town meeting back in October, and one of my neighbors, who just passed away, his son and wife are here today, Harry Motley was there. And Harry talked with passion and at length about how technology, the laptop initiative of years ago, if it's reinstituted, can do a great deal for encouraging kids at different learning levels to learn. We have to figure out the best methods of teaching our children and then invest in that area to do so. Technology can really help kids learn at different levels, and they can help those with special needs. But we've got to be cognizant of that. Beyond that, however, I want to start a constructive dialogue about how our children are learning and what is working and what isn't working in our school system. I've heard the concerns of parents and educators about the MCAS, that's the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment testing. And I understand how cumbersome and wasteful to teach just to that test. And I want to work with teachers and school officials and the Department of Education to be sure that we're teaching our children Massachusetts standards without sacrificing important subjects like science and social studies, just so that we can pass that MCAS test. In a recent conversation with the Secretary of Education here in Massachusetts, Dr. Paul Revelle, I expressed to him my concerns about how inordinate financial and qualitative burdens of that test are being placed on cities like Pittsfield and on our teachers, and what it's costing our children. And he promised to continue this conversation over the next 6 months. I'm looking forward to working with them to see whether or not there are things we can do to ease those burdens. Now, we have plenty to consider as we talk about our schools and decide how we will further improve education. From preschool programs, where education really begins, to that day when our kids receive that diploma from high school. Now, as your mayor and as a member of the school committee, you have my personal pledge that this will be a top priority. Within the next 30 days, I will begin also the process of establishing something that I know Councilor Sherman has talked about, campaigned about, and that's a charter commission. I spoke with Councilor Marchetti about that at the end of our campaign, and I know he wants to be involved. The Charter Commission will review and ultimately recommend to the people of Pittsfield changes in our structure of government. We have a system of government that's been in place since we became a city in 1891. Now, municipal government is a far different place than it was in 1891. And government has to meet professional standards of the 21st century. This may be one of the most important things that my friends here on the City Council and I will work on over the next 2 years. And I'm looking forward to doing that with you. Now, all of these initiatives are priorities that will require hard work, commitment from all quarters, and the support of citizens in our community. In the process, I will not lose sight of the quality of life issues that mean so much to each and every one of you. I plan on partnering with friends sitting behind me to make sure our neighborhoods and our streets are not neglected, but are maintained in a manner that is devoid of politics. I will manage your tax dollars with the absolute knowledge that your resources are limited and that there are many citizens in this community who are just making ends meet. And I pledge to work hard to make their condition a better one. This is a healthy, active agenda that we have for my administration, the City Council, and the people of Pittsfield. Now, when I first went away to college, as an 18-year-old, I ended up rooming with a guy from New York City. And of course, we thought, geez, New York City, I'm just a bumpkin from Pittsfield. He gave me some advice. He said to me, you know, you should learn you should memorize some Shakespeare, and you'll really impress people. Of course, you know the kind of people that an 18-year-old male freshman wanted to impress, right? They're college professors. Well, I struggled through Shakespeare. I mean, I struggled through Hamlet and Macbeth and As You Like It. And I only memorized some of it. But there was one phrase that I did memorize, and it says, action is eloquence. Action is eloquence. So what I would suggest is, let's plan on being very eloquent over the next 2 years. Pittsfield is a wonderful community. It's a beautiful place. Teresa and I, we've been blessed to be able to have raised our families here, and I'm sure many of you can say the same thing. They've received a great education. They participated in sports, in great youth facilities, starting with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, the CYC. Melville Street, one of the greatest little streets in Massachusetts. They've also participated in high school athletics. It's a great community. Within the boundaries of this beautiful city, they've hiked through the state forest. They've learned how to swim in two of the most beautiful lakes you'd ever want to see. And they learned how to ski on just a great mountain, all right here in the city of Pittsfield. And they did it, which I find this to be a beautiful thing, in the same town as their grandparents live in. I feel privileged to be your mayor and to play a role in helping the city take its next sure steps into the future. Please join me in building this community and a consensus in putting aside differences, mending fences, and working together as a family. Our mission, our eloquent actions, will ensure that the same great education, meaningful employment, and wonderful opportunities in safe neighborhoods
which distinguished my life and many of your lives, will be there for the next generation and for generations we've yet to meet. I want to thank you so much for being here, and Happy New Year. I look forward to working with all of you.